Jeff's Superscript is brought to you by Black Cat Comics and Collectibles, in my opinion, the best comic shop and clubhouse on the internet. Follow them at Black Cat Burbank on Instagram and join their claim sales on Tuesdays for new books and Fridays for back issues. And don't forget to ask about joining their Stray Cats Club for special perks.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I take a look at all the new comic books hitting Final Order Cutoff this upcoming weekend, Sunday, April 18th for DC and Scout Comics, and April 19th, Monday, for everything else. As I'd like to say at the beginning of these videos, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button prematurely, if you're a fan of this content, likes are great. They help the algorithm tell people that this guy's pretty decent. Maybe you might want to check him out. Thank you if you've gone ahead and hit the like button already. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the comic books we're going to talk about today. There are 12 of them. We'll try to move through them as quickly as possible. The first one I want to mention to you is a book called Time Before Time. This is from Image Comics. This is a brand new book. Here's the description. The year is 2140, and to escape a world with no future, many turn to the Syndicate, a criminal organization who, for the right price, will smuggle you back in time to a better life. After working for the Syndicate for years, Tetsuo and Oscar decide to steal one of their boss's time machines, but soon find that one thing you can't run from is your past. Time Before Time is a brand new ongoing series where writer-artist Declan Shalvey joins forces with Write It in Blood team of Rory McConville and Joe Palmer. Looper meets Saga in this extra-sized debut issue. I'm a sucker for time travel stuff. I think it could be cool and interesting. And when you mix in kind of a crime syndicate kind of, criminal element to it, sounds like it could be fairly interesting. If this interests you as well, you might want to pre-order it this upcoming FOC. The next book I want to mention to you is From the World of Hellboy, The House of Lost Horizons, a Sarah Jewell mystery from Dark Horse Comics. It's a 5-issue limited series. Here's the description. A locked room murder mystery puzzles paranormal detective Sarah Jewell and her associate Marie Teresi when a weekend trip on a private island off the coast of Washington goes astray. Trapped by a storm and surrounded by myriad suspects who have gathered for an auction of occult items, the intrepid duo must unravel the supernatural mysteries surrounding the guests in hopes of uncovering the murderer. But all the while, bodies keep piling up, and at any moment, Sarah or Marie Teresi could be next. Mike Mignola and Chris Robertson return to the world of Hellboy, accompanied by artist Leila Del Duca and colorist Michelle Madsen. Investigator Sarah Jewell gets her own series in this murder mystery with an occult twist. Well, this is what's interesting to me. The whole locked room murder mystery, the whole idea where people are all trapped in a room of sorts together, there's a fixed amount of suspects and a murder to solve, is a classic kind of genre of murder mystery story. And so you set one of these in the Hellboy universe, and I'm interested. So if you're a fan of murder mysteries like this, or if you're a fan of Hellboy or Mike Mignola, this is something to check out this week. The next book I want to mention to you is Fantastic Four number 32 from Marvel Comics. This is an interesting one. Here's the description. The Bride of Doom, Part 1, Betrothal. The Human Torch's love life is changed forever when he must choose between his soulmate and his ex-wife. And as Johnny Storm's first heartbreak, Crystal, back in the book? This is all too much. Fortunately, there's also a lot of punching, hitting, and clobbering going on. All this and an ominous decree by Dr. Doom, plus a second tale in which Reed Richards duels Dr. Doom for the strangest prize imaginable. Nothing in this description sounds especially interesting to me. This is by writer Dan Slott, by the way. I would have passed right by this book if it wasn't for the fact that there was a Momoko variant and also a Ron Lim variant and also a Scotty Young variant. Why are there so many variants by these heavy hitter cover artists for this issue? I don't know, but whenever this happens, you kind of have to ask yourself the question, why? Is something going on that isn't immediately evident? So keep in mind, if you're a fan of these cover artists, you might want to know that these books are coming out by them. Or if you're just kind of like, maybe you want to put one of these on the side for yourself just in case something interesting happens inside of it. The next one I want to mention to you is Giant Size Amazing Spider-Man King's Ransom #1. The description reads, everything comes down to this. Kingpin's quest that violates all natural law, Tombstone and Robbie Robertson's years-old enmity, Randy Robertson and Beetle's timeless love, Boomerang's scheme, Spider-Man's whole status quo. So this is a Giant Size Amazing Spider-Man, King's Ransom #1. It seems to me like if you are a dedicated reader of Spider-Man, you're going to want to read this. And because it's continuing the storyline that is already taking place in Amazing Spider-Man. If you're not a dedicated fan of Spider-Man, you're not going to care about this. But for those of you who are dedicated fans of Amazing Spider-Man right now, you might want to make sure that you let your local comic shop know that you want/need this book because it's part of the main storyline that you're reading. But it might not be pulled for you automatically because it's not like a typical numbered issue of Amazing Spider-Man. So I want to make sure it was on your radar. The next book I want to mention to you is Heroes Reborn, Hyperion and Imperial Guard #1. Heroes Reborn is an event that's coming up soon in the Marvel Universe, and with it, of course, comes tie-ins. Here's the first one of two that we're going to mention today. The description reads, the teenage Hyperion's cosmic quests with his Shi'ar friends near their end, but none of the young heroes are ready to say farewell. A quick mission in the negative zone sounds like the perfect coda to a storied fellowship. But what awaits Hyperion, Gladiator, and the rest is horror and agony beyond their wildest nightmares. Also included in this issue, a special preview of the new spin-off series, The Starjammers. Okay, let's start with the end here. As a big X-Men fan and as an owner of a decent amount of X-Men books, I am particularly interested in a spin-off series featuring the Starjammers. So that's kind of interesting to me about this book. But the rest of this is just more Heroes Reborn tie-ins. To be quite honest, I feel like these characters aren't brand new, but they're brand new to me. So because I'm not familiar with them, I'm less interested in them. Maybe if you're more interested in them, more familiar with them, you might be more interested in them. So I don't know what to think about this. If you're going all in on the Heroes Reborn event, you're definitely going to want to check this out. If you're not, you're probably going to be a lot less interested. Same thing with this next one, which is Heroes Reborn, Peter Parker, Amazing Shutterbug, #1. I have no cover art for this book at all, so that's why you see this here. And the description, as you can see, reads, Peter Parker is the biggest Hyperion fan in the world. He also just happens to be chummy with his favorite hero thanks to a photography gig at the Daily Bugle. Surely nothing can go wrong with his camera and him in the heart of the action, right? Well, it's Heroes Reborn, so there is no Spider-Man, but it's still Marvel Comics, so we at least have to have a Peter Parker-based story if we can't have a Spider-Man-based story. I have a feeling we're going to see more stories like this, but starting off with a Peter Parker one makes total sense. Could be interesting, could be not interesting. In typical fashion with these tie-ins to these big events, I'm pretty sure that personally I'm going to pick up the Heroes Reborn main, I think it's 7-part series. I doubt I'll be picking up many, if any, of the tie-ins. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called X-Corp #1. Here is the description. Krakoa is for closers. The deals have been made. Mutant kind is safe on Krakoa. As the reign of X continues, what are the wants of the mutants who have everything? Leading the charge is X Corporation, headed by CXOs Monet St. Croix and Warren Worthington, a duo as cutthroat and ruthless in the boardroom as they are on the battlefield. But X Corp needs more than just its figureheads. As Monet sets out to staff her team with some of the brightest and most deviant minds in mutant kind, Warren finds himself in a tense meeting with one of Krakoa's first allies who wants to know the truth. On Angel's Wings, will X-Corp crash or soar? So have you ever asked yourself the question, why do these comic books have so many battles and super adventures? Why can't they have more boardrooms and meetings and paperwork? Well, your dreams have just been answered, apparently, with X-Corp. I don't understand this book. This book seems like it's the politics of business first and foremost, and almost exclusively. There are a lot of X-Men books out there, and I'm wondering if we need one like this. It's written by somebody I've never heard of, Teenie Howard. So I am pessimistic about this book, and I'm an X-Men fan. But you know what? Maybe I pick up issue number 1 just to see what the heck is going on here. But that being said, I doubt it needs to be pre-ordered with before Final Order Cutoff coming up this weekend, because I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find it without too much trouble. But who knows? Maybe Marvel will be really sneaky and put something just majorly awesome and super key in issue number 1 of this book. I don't know. But if you're an X fan, a major X fan, you might want to go ahead and pre-order it. If not, you might want to wait until it comes out on the shelves. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called God Killer, Tomorrow's Ashes, number 1 from Black Mask Comics. Here's the description. It's back. From Matteo Pizzolo and Anna Wyzeskis. Oh boy, I butchered that name. I'm not even going to try again. The comic that Zach Thompson said pushed me further than I've ever been pushed returns to ratchet up the chaos and roar through the comic market, spitting punk rock fury, thundering into your eyeballs and running roughshod across your brains with its often mind-bending, sometimes horrifying, always clever and devious tale of sci-fi magic, apocalyptic sex, and subversive mind bombs. Okay, I was first and foremost intrigued by this book based off of this cover art. I saw this cover art, I was like, what is going on here? Then I read this description and I got especially intrigued. I am super, super, super curious. Am I going to put this on my pull pre-FOC? I don't know yet. But I am officially curious. So if you're just a little bit more curious than me, you might want to go ahead and pre-order it, because this might be the kind of thing that a comic shop under orders. So if you know that you want it, you might want to go ahead and reserve it ahead of time. The next one I want to mention is an interesting one. It's called Red Room, number 1 from Fantagraphics Books. Here's the description. From the creator of Hip Hop Family Tree and X-Men Grand Design comes this all-new monthly comic book series with a specially priced, self-contained, double-sized debut issue. Red Room is a cyberpunk outlaw splatterpunk masterpiece. Aided by the anonymous dark web and nearly untraceable cryptocurrency, there has emerged a subculture of criminals who live stream and patronize webcam murders for entertainment. Who are the murderers? Who are the victims? How do we stop it? As seen on Pisker's YouTube channel sensation, cartoonist K-Fabe. This is a $7 book. It's double-sized. If you're looking for something dark and horrific from your comic books this week, this is going to be the book for you. Once again, these type of books may be under-ordered by your local comic shop. So if you have a real taste for the darker side of the comic book world, you might want to go ahead and let your comic book shop know ahead of Final Order Cutoff that you want it, so that they make sure that they order a copy just for you. Oh, and there's a Momoko, by the way, so that might get your attention as well. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called Silver City number 1 from Aftershock Comics. Here's the description. When a young roughneck lands in Silver City, the gritty purgatorial metropolis of the afterlife, she must adapt to her new existence while attempting to uncover how and why she died. Her mission is derailed, however, when she rescues a newly dead girl from a mysterious kidnapping attempt and discovers powerful kinetic abilities. Welcome to Silver City, where the sun never rises and nothing ever changes. until now. This sounds interesting to me. There are a lot of descriptions of books this week where I'm like, that doesn't sound entirely stupid and unoriginal. And this is another one that kind of falls into that category. This sounds interesting to me. If it's done well, it could be really, really cool. If it sounds interesting to you, you might want to go ahead and pre-order it. The next two books come from DC. I want to remind you once again that DC's FOC is on Sunday, not Monday, like most everything else. The two books I want to mention to you from DC this week are, first one is Future State Gotham #1. Okay, here's the description. The event that was DC Future State continues in its own ongoing title, starring the Bat family, beginning with the epic story Hunt the Batman. Disaster strikes Gotham City and all evidence points to the next Batman. Red Hood must choose justice over his family and allies when the corrupt magistrate enlists him to bring in the new Batman, dead or alive. Featuring the entire cast from the popular Future State Batman titles, this new series kicks off the next chapter in this forbidding world of tomorrow, and does so in brilliant, monochromatic storytelling. This black and white series will showcase the brutal world that's around the corner in Future State Gotham. So a few things. It's in black and white, which could either be a really cool stylistic choice or really cheap rushing out of a book that they don't want to spend the time to pay somebody to do the coloring on. Who knows? I'm a little bit of a cynic. But at least this is a $4 book, which from DC is becoming more and more rare. So maybe at least they're not charging you $5 for a book that didn't have an inker. A colorist. Also, I thought Future State was done, but it's not done. It now has its own ongoing book featuring the Future State characters from Gotham City. So if you were a big fan of the Future State books, specifically the ones that pertained to the Bat family, it's your lucky day. We're going to have more stories featuring those characters in this book, hitting Final Order Cutoff this upcoming Sunday. And the last book I want to mention to you is a book called Justice League Last Ride #1. Here's the description. Once the most powerful group in the world, the Justice League was destroyed by tragedy and time, disbanding under a veil of mistrust and anger. Now, on the eve of the universe's greatest murder trial, the League must come together one last time. But can Superman and Batman bury the past before the cosmos' greatest villains bury them? Learn the shocking truth in this new digital-first adventure by writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Miguel Mendonca. Okay. If you're a regular viewer of my videos, you know that I have been mentioning Chip Zdarsky over and over and over and over and over again. He's one of those people that's becoming an extremely prolific writer, writing for Marvel, for DC, for his own independent creations, for other people's independent creations. He is all over the place. And every time I read his books, of which I read a handful of even just today, I'm like, this guy's really good. Like I read the Silver Coin #1 today that he wrote, and it was really good. It was a really good horror anthology, single individual story. So when I hear the word and see the name Chip Zdarsky, once again, my ears perk up. I'm absolutely interested. And even though the Justice League hasn't interested me specifically in a while, I really like the Justice League. DC doesn't have my favorite superheroes, but when you put them all together in one place at one time, now I'm really, really interested. And I used to collect Justice League comic books because I really like seeing all of these superheroes having to band together to tackle a singular problem. So the fact that we have the Justice League written by Chip Zdarsky, this is now firing on all cylinders for me. I am going to be putting this on my poll. I'm at least going to check out the first issue, and if the story interests me, I'm going to be all over it. So you might consider adding it to your poll list as well. All right, so that's all the books that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for sitting through them and listening to this information. If you appreciate me taking the time to let you know about this dozen books this week hitting Final Order Cutoff, this is another opportunity for you to go ahead and hit that like button. And if you liked this video and you aren't already a subscriber, here is my invitation to you to subscribe. Hitting the subscribe guy right there is, of course, a fun way to do it, but make sure you hit the notification bell as well so that you are informed when I put up other videos on this channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.